Your games aren't good enough. I think that's true. Very important to make a good game. And how can you know that you make a good game? I think you need to make a demo version and look at the stats. If no one plays the demo version, especially when you're a solo indie developer, I think you need to make sure that you up those stats. But it's also a bit confusing. Because look at this. Here, I save this so we can talk about this. For me, the most important metric, if someone enjoys my game, is the medium time played. When you have a demo version out on Steam, it doesn't cost any money. So now the only thing that you can track is, well, how many people actually play the game and when do they quit. This right here is from Stardoise, which is made by devblog. And right now there are 68 players in the game. He can definitely live off the game. It is reasonably successful. He's had a couple of bumps with major changes. And I think it's a really successful game, considering it's a solo indie game developer, right? There's more than 1,000 reviews, and he can comfortably live off this game. Now, you can see here that the medium time played is 8 hours. That is the same for a game like this too. Crystal Guardians, Steam. This guy right here is not as successful as devblog with Stardoise, and he currently has, well, 2 people playing the game, but it's about, well, let's say 5 to 10 players a day playing the game, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. However, he only has 98 reviews, so about 100 reviews, and the game is less successful as Stardoise, considering the fact that Stardoise has over 1,000 reviews, which is crazy. But they both have the same medium time played. That's the important part. And so why am I talking about this metric? I fear, in my opinion, if you're making a solo indie game, you should be looking at this metric to maximize that metric in your demo version, so that when you bring out your game and people actually pay money for this, you know that they spend at least 20, 30, 50, 40 minutes, whatever, in the game. You need to have a very high number here. I think 40 minutes is a good place to start and then go up. Medium time played depends heavily on the genre. Yes, I agree with you, but I have seen examples of less than 10 minutes of medium time played, and the game was so bad that if you release the game, no one would buy this. You wouldn't even get to 10 reviews. So this time played, especially when something is free, is really important. So let's see, how can we make the game better? Your games aren't good enough. These guys made a couple of good games, actually. Let's see.
Start this video off with a hot take, because I don't get hated enough or something. I think people overestimate how difficult it is to have a game released on Steam.
My first Steam wishlist I want to share, enjoy with you all after a year of learning, typing and struggling. A year only? This guy's a rookie. I finally took a leap and published a Steam page. Giga chat, good job. I got my very first wishlist, making a game journey full of changes. There was moments when nothing seemed to work, blah, blah, blah. But today I just want to share the moment with pure joy with everyone. Seeing that the first wishlist pop up felt absolutely surreal. The first wishlist? He's happy for one wishlist? That's like one subscriber on YouTube.
I see posts often on like Reddit of like, I can't believe I finally got my game on Steam. Feels like a game come true. It's just kind of easy at the end of the day and not that special. At the end of the day, you can make that happen with $100 and a template. At the end of the day, a Unity template, whatever.
Bro, $100 is a lot of money. Okay, you're minus 100, bro.
And it shows that it's maybe too easy. So I want to make this video as a PSA.
What do you mean my ego is showing? I got like 200 wishlists in 1 year. What are you talking about? I got nothing, bro. It's atrociously bad how little wishlists I got.
Asking you to please, for the love of God, make better games. Is what it comes down to. I guess.
Yeah, it is. So.
I'm making this video coming off from the Steam Nexfest. So Steam Nexfest is 3 times a year a big event on Steam where they showcase demos for upcoming games. Like, it's a great marketing opportunity because you get a lot of visibility for your game. A lot of people download your demo.
I guess we need to do it too.
And gives you a lot of wish lists. Usually, if you have a good game. Problem is, there's a shit ton of bad games, is what I've realized.
2,000 wish lists from Steam Nexfest, is that good?
And even people in our audience who are making games. I played some of your games as well, and some of them just weren't ready. They were too early. They needed a lot more time in the oven. And look, we've made this mistake as well. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, everyone makes this mistake.
There's a lot of fear mongering at the end of the day.
Right.
Like, oh no, every year more and more games come out of Steam, like 18,000 games and whatever. And what about AI and all of that? But it's like, not even AI is the problem. The problem is just that you guys are flipping garbage on Steam just to live that dream of becoming a Steam publisher.
That's true, yeah.
Getting $20 insane.
I think Unity and those pre-built things, especially in Unity and Unreal Engine, really invite to do that. You can't really do this if you're making a game from scratch. Now, that's obviously like, I don't know, a percent of the population doing that. But still, when you're starting something from scratch, I think you have a good... I think you get... It's not true, though. You could also have terrible games. I think you can discard this one. I think it's wrong. Because you take longer, and it could still be bad. You're not focusing on the game.
Maybe, and becoming just another statistic of those games that never reach past the 10 reviews, which is kind of where Steam draws the line.
Bro, if you raise the Steam price to $500 to release on Steam, there would be so few people doing that. I think that's bad.
Between absolute worthless garbage games that nobody deserves to see versus, okay, let's show this a little bit in the discovery queue still. I think about 50% of all games never go past that 10 review mark, and then another 25% never go past 50 basically. So that's crazy. That big amount of doom posting about how Steam doesn't make sense.
No, that being said, I think you will get to 100 reviews. If we get everything in the game, I think you'll get to 100 reviews. However, will we get like good reviews? That's a question. That's where it comes into. Like, will we consistently get reviews? That's difficult to do.
That's how it's unfair, and there's no chance that you can ever compete on there anymore.
No.
And anyone who is looking at game development with a bit more of an objective like look and knowing that, hey, these are games that we're charging money for, can see the problem.
Yeah.
And the problem that your games just aren't good enough, and you are too in love with your game. You're too...
Like, it's crazy. I've played some platforming games, and you can clearly tell that there was no thought in the platforming. It felt so out of place and janky. And these guys put the game on Steam, and I was like, bro, you just wasted $100. And even if you release such a game, I don't count that too much, because, yeah, in my opinion, game development is just a culmination of how much time you spend. And the more time you spend, the better you get. If you spend a year making a game and it's terrible and you release it on Steam, it's probably not going to sell. Now, you could be like the genius of game development, but for most people, it won't sell.
To see that truth, because it's not a fun truth. Nobody likes calling someone else's baby ugly, I would hope.
I think you need to do that, though. If you don't say that the game sucks that you're playing and someone asks you for feedback, you're not doing them a favor.
Hope you don't like calling people's babies uglies. But that's what I'm doing in this video, because it just has to be said. You guys have been viciously mocking every single game that we've made for the past 3 years or something. Mm-hmm. So now it's my time to strike back, because I've been changing my opinion on this as well. I think one of my New Year's resolutions for 2025 was we're going to take this more seriously, and we're going to raise the bar of quality that we need to release the games.
Goodbye 3 years of experience. Goodbye 3 years of your life, then, minimum, if you want to have really good quality, because it takes a lot of time to polish things.
We're making there needs to be a certain visual level, a certain, like, everything basically. Not just throwing Cinti asset packs in a basic game and calling it a day. No, the games we make, they have to have a high enough standard that I can honestly sleep good at night.
Unless you know the concept already.
Quality on Steam. Let's talk about what are the big worst offending cases that I see of your games. First one that I see, quality-wise, is just visuals. Visuals, it's so important, guys. It's something that took me a long time to realize as well. And
bro, is this Gothic game? No, it's not. This looks good. You have edge shadows here, so directional light, and then you have point lights too. That's good, man. This looks looking good.
I think it's definitely a cope of like, oh yeah.
He will talk about the HUD now, Cakez. Listen. Bro, listen. Okay? This HUD right here is not a problem in my game. Why is this tree here still, man? We deleted this earlier. Go away. Save. Where does it come from? Go away, man. This is not the problem for my game, because the most time you will spend is here in this level. You spend the most of your time here, and you're engaging with the upgrade mechanics of the game. The background, while is important, doesn't matter too much in this case. In this case, the background matters more than the HUD, because you will look at the HUD 10% of the time. It's not important, man.
You don't need good visuals, you just need good gameplay. It doesn't matter. If you're...
You do, though. You need good gameplay. Look at Vampire Survivors. It looks really weird. It repeats itself. The texture on the first level repeats itself a million times. And still, the game is like crack, cocaine. Now, so I don't agree with this, because you could literally make a game with boxes.
Especially with the Steam Nexfest, we see this. If your game doesn't look good, it doesn't matter how amazing and how in-depth the gameplay is, because people will never even dare touch it. I think an example of this.
If it looks terrible, yes. And Vampire Survivors wins because of the Castlevania theme.
This, once again, is what we had back with Magical Girl Gardens, the game that we ended up canceling. Because the gameplay was really solid. I 100% believe that. The visuals just...
Bro, that was his Vampire Survivors clone, wasn't it?
What we had back
looks like a Vampire Survivors clone.
The game that we ended up canceling. Because the gameplay was really solid. I 100% believe that. The visuals just weren't there. And we got ruthlessly, viciously roasted for that. And not just roasted, but also like we didn't get any wish lists for that game because the visuals just weren't good enough. That visuals weren't interesting enough. And that's when I realized
I'm in the same boat.
There's no games being released anymore with bad graphics. Yeah, there's games with maybe unique art styles, but never with bad graphics, I would say. With objectively bad graphics, that is like a mismatch of all different kinds of visual styles and all of that. There's no cohesive visual feel for it. If you don't have that general
this wouldn't
art
sell,
direction,
I think.
I will call it. It's not just individual assets. Like everyone can buy 10 asset packs and throw them together, but then they don't look good.
Yep.
If there's not a single cohesive feel and good lighting and all of that, your game is just gonna be so much harder to market because who wants to look at it? Nobody. It's gonna be harder for content creators to look at the game. And it's just like, yeah, even if it has the best...
It doesn't pop out. What he means is this, guys. It's called art direction. So Dark Souls 1. When you look at some of the, let's say, blurry. Is this a good picture here? No. Is this a good picture? Yeah, it kind of looks blurry because it's old. You see the stuff right here. But the reason why the game is so good is because it has art direction. So Dark Souls 1. Oh, guys, what is it called? When you, like, after the big tank. Oh, what is the big world called? Oh, I forgot. Good color palette. Yeah, it's a color palette that gives you contrast. But the high, like when you go up to Smaug and the other guy. What is the area called? Why do I forget these names? Like something Arno Londo. Yeah, Arno Londo. Even if yeah, look at this. This is art direction. That's crazy. Look at this. So comparatively, right, when you have this image and it looks very blurry, the reason why the game is good even today is because of art direction, something like this. That's not something you see every time, in every game. And so you don't need good graphics. You need to choose good colors and a style that fits the game. So, like, don't look at me. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But yeah, he's right. Where is it? Yep.
Best goddamn gameplay loop in the world. A lot of people will never even touch it to begin with. And if they do touch it, it's still like, yeah, it could have been better if it just looked good. And especially with our audience. And I understand this. Like, you are programmers. You're not art people. Most of you. I know. I think we have like 25% people who focus more on the art aspect. I have thoughts about...
I think that when you're a programmer and you don't want to do art, you have to work a side job or a real, like a full-time job next to making a game, and then you pay someone to do the art for you, and you pay the same person. When you find someone, you pay the same person.
The artist as well.
And if the person doesn't work out, you switch it, and then you stay consistent with this one person. Because they have a style to them, and they have a color palette. Maybe you give it to them, maybe they choose it themselves, but they stick to it somewhat, and then the game will look good.
You need to understand that you need to actively worry about the visuals of your game, honestly, more than the actual
find one person.
rest of the game, the actual mechanics. The mechanics and the game design is important, guys. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't matter when you're joining a Nexfest, which is you get one shot for this. If your game looks like ass, if your
Wait, so you guys told me I can join multiple Nextfests, but I can only join one Nextfest that is themed about my game. So Tower Defense Nextfest is only once available to me, correct?
game looks bad, it doesn't matter, like I said, once again, because people will look at it in like the 10-second trailer preview and they'll be like, wow, this looks horrible. I'm not going to interact with this, and we just move on. And that's your opportunity wasted. Whereas if games look visually...
Only one Nextfest per game, but people told me I can go multiple Nextfests. Like something I can use that multiple times.
Interesting, people are more likely to look and stop and be like, hey, let's take a deeper look at what this is. And it needs to be interesting, not good, but you have it consistent throughout the entire game. That is what helps so much with marketing your game. And I think that is something that you need to be honest with yourself. Like, does my lighting fit? Do my textures fit? Like, is part of my game like super stylized low poly? And another part is just low poly, but doesn't have that same stylization, has completely different color palette and all of that. Those are hard questions because you don't want to think about it, because you're like, oh no, I'm a programmer, there's no way I can solve this.
Bro, this looks so terrible, man. You see the motion blur? This is an Unreal Engine game. Or maybe it's a Unity game, but it's so bad. Like, you can't even tell what's going on. That's crazy how bad this is.
And if there's no
These are the other games that we are about to expect in the next couple of years, by the way, because Unreal Engine is on the rise.
You can solve it. I think you need to look at other things, other games, other assets, finding a new art style that you can actually implement. That's, I think, what made both Overtime Anomaly and Unicycle Pizza Time work so well, is because it used, like, especially with Overtime Anomaly, it's basically one big asset pack for our entire office environment, and it all just works together so well. We have...
By the way, do they still have this linked? I remember the game. Gamedev coaching. Oh my god, where is the Unicycle Pizza Time? You're still getting players on this? 125 reviews, so it's still going up. The last time we checked on this, it was about 100. Okay, online now, player count of 4. Okay, it totally dropped down. Yeah. It's a little bit better than my game, but it's about the same. I get like 4 players a day now after the update. 4 or 5 players, okay. It's still good, but it could be so much better. Okay.
That visual style cohesiveness, and it helps a lot in just making sure that the game looks better. So visuals is the first thing. Now, another problem that I do see a lot is too many bugs, basically. And there's a difference still between just having a demo on Steam and especially having a demo in Nexfest. I'll dive into the Nexfest part more. I think we need to realize that at the end of the day, a demo is a demo. It's a shorter piece of the full game. It's not an open beta for your game. I think that is a mindset that...
It is though for my game. For my game it is, because I don't know how else to do it. So I just put the demo out. It's like, hey guys, can you test this? Hey, thanks. And then I get feedback and I fix the game. Like, how else are you supposed to do this? And then when the game's good enough, we can join Nexfest. We can maybe do a demo page with actual reviews. It's been working very well so far. I've been getting a lot of feedback. Look at this. Game feedback. Array full when you unlock an item and then you crash. Just got this too. Send me a log file, bro. Yeah, why don't you guys send me the log files? Like, you give me a game crash, but you don't send me the log files. Huh? Log files? There you go.
Kind of seeped in.
I did listen to the feedback. You're wrong, Firefly.
I don't know when exactly, but back in the day, I don't know, in my opinion, a demo was always polished. And even if you look at other like bigger indie studios with like bigger teams and whatever that do this as more of a legit profession, shall I say, they will never launch a half-baked demo, usually.
Why not? Why not? See, I don't see a big deal. The way that Steam works, and we read about this, the moment you get 10 reviews on your released game, that's when you start to get traction. So why not have a demo version out that is free, that is not its own page, Let people play the demo, give you feedback, ask for feedback, and then after you know that you have a somewhat stable demo, that's when you go more public about it. So, like, how else are you going to get playtesters for your game when you're a solo indie game developer? I think that's some terrible advice here, because he's assuming that you can just get playtesters, which not everyone can. I think that's not good. I think the demo version, especially if when you're alone, you put it out and you make a way, you give people a way to give you feedback back. You can do playtests on Steam, but aren't they limited by time? Steam playtest? Yeah, but isn't this a time thing? No? So you can do an entire playtest all the time. You click on it, you get invited to the playtest, but to me that's just a demo. A demo with more... A demo where I invite you through an email. Yeah, but it's, in my opinion, that's just a demo. It's the same thing, to be honest. You can do closed or open. Yeah, but I'm talking about someone who doesn't have anyone that they know. Like a normal average Joe. Maybe they know 2 people. Demo version also means content creators can find it and play it and give you a lot of visibility. That's the most important marketing asset for small devs on Steam Immo. Yes, like the fear with having a demo version out is that your demo can be discovered in a terrible state by a content creator. Then a content creator plays the game, they hate it, and now you have thousands upon thousands of people that hate your game. That's true. Yeah, you can make playtests. Well, playtests could be something too. I haven't tried that yet. But I think a demo version is the best place to get early feedback.
Most of the time. They will always have the demo is already near...
How do you know to make a good demo if you've never made a game, bro? You can carbon copy Vampire Survivors. You know that you have a good gameplay loop. But that's about it then.
Final quality of what the full game is going to be.
And asking people you know personally, exactly, good point, is a bad idea because they're gonna give you terrible feedback because they don't want to hurt your feelings. I've seen this multiple times. These guys just don't want to say that your game sucks. So they're like, oh, that's cool, that's cool. And maybe these people are not even gamers, actual gamers, that expect everything in the game to be done for them. Listen, man, I think having a demo or let's say a playtest, we haven't tested this yet, is the most important thing. If you don't do this, then how are you going to get feedback? Real feedback. And the feedback you can get is in terms of time. Like this. This is the best feedback. How long do people play the game? What is the genre that I have? And how long are people expected to play?
Whereas with our audience, I feel like they do a demo more as their playtest. They're just like, okay, I have a kind of playable game.
Yeah, I do. Why not?
Time to throw the demo on Steam and start generating wishlists.
Okay,
right?
why not?
If I have a demo, I'm going to get more wishlists because people can play the game. It's like, no. If your game literally soft locks in the first 5 minutes, because I've played, once again, your demos, and there's no way to get past it. And I look at the Steam discussions and everyone is complaining about the fact that you can soft lock because you can destroy critical buildings to your like gameplay, or you can delete all of your items without anything stopping you, and you still haven't solved that now, then you're doing something wrong. You don't want to have that. If someone plays a demo and it's a bad experience, the chance that they're going to go back 6 months from now and play the demo again is...
I just don't agree. I can understand why he's saying that. I just don't agree though. Because Vampire Survivor started the same way. He just put his game out on itch, and there were glaring issues with the game, and he would just keep going and working on the game. Because the game will change to be better and the demo is to be expected the end result.
Pretty slim. They'll write off the game most likely because it's like, yeah, it's too early. This is too raw. This isn't the quality game. And once again, this is like part of that slop.
I know that you can tell your friends to give you honest advice, yes. But you can still not be 100% sure. Because there can be some really helpful gamers that open your eyes much more than your friends would.
Problem, I don't know, of getting those bad first impressions isn't great. Because on Steam at the end of the day, there's also buttons to ignore games. If a game is so bad or it's so unappealing and Steam pushes it like again and someone is like, yeah, this is still bad, let me ignore this game. They're basically never going to see your game again. Because unignoring a game is kind of very tedious and hard to actually get done. And then another example of this is like optimization. A lot of demos are less optimized, I would say.
We don't have that
But
problem.
you need to have some optimization.
C++.
Because what I also feel is like every single Unreal dev, I'm calling you guys out. It's like, oh yeah, uncapped FPS in the main menu. My PC is already blowing to the moon because I'm rendering the main menu out at 400 FPS for some reason. And there's no settings for anything.
400 FPS? I paused. That's rookie numbers. We had 4,000 FPS.
Demo and whatever, and I can get like, once again, you have a more limited scope in terms of settings and all of that, but you should have the core bare minimum, I think, is things like having an FPS setting if you're making a first-person game, having an FOV slider or whatever, having customizable controls. If you don't have those things, I think you shouldn't launch your demo to begin with. And that brings me to the point of, okay, you have the demo, should you even participate in the Steam Nexfest? This is another one.
I think you should.
So many
after you have used your demo on Steam to get feedback. I just don't agree with this. I think having a demo out on Steam and then using that as a playtesting tool is a good idea. Or you do an open playtest or a playtest using invites. Maybe that would work too. It's difficult to say. Both could work.
Many people, like, it's like, okay, you launch a Steam page and you get 40 wish lists, because Steam page launch alone doesn't really give you that much visibility.
Yeah.
And then you launch a demo, maybe, and you don't get the result you want. And now you've spent 6 months of development time, let's say, and you've gotten 100 wish lists to show for it. Your brain is going to go into panic mode because you need 7,000 when you release.
No, you don't, but you get feedback. Okay, I wonder if he gives us some strategies on how to properly get feedback then.
Right, ideally. How are you gonna get that? Well, I have this one festival, Steam Nexfest, let me just join it now. And then get that more wishlist now, and then I'll get marketing later or whatever. But if it's too early, your Nextfest should be your final, like, Steam Nextfest before release. If your game is only, like, I've seen this as well, like, games planned to release date, Q4 2025, and then they're joining the February Nextfest, that's bad. That's not good. You want to have your Nextfest demo as close to release as possible, because Nextfest is that point where you're probably going to get the most visibility for your demo. So you want to make sure that the game is as finished as possible, as polished as possible, as close to the final.
I agree here. That's good.
And not a buggy, visual, incoherent mess, for example, that when people play it, they're going to be like, yes, this is it, let's go. Nextfest can be super powerful. You can get like 500 to 1,000 wishlists in a single day as a normal developer without a big marketing budget. But
that's good.
This requires you to have a demo that is not just good, but excellent. Excellent, and I mean this excellent. Be strict on yourself. Is this game really good?
We should do better. Yeah, okay, then how do we get feedback if we don't have a demo on Steam? Okay, let's see.
Rose-colored glasses because it's your baby, and you don't want to admit that, hey, maybe this isn't really the prettiest baby at the end of the day. I think that is something you need to keep in mind. And at the end of the day, it's like, you can ignore me, but I think you shouldn't, please. Like, we need to do better, I think, is kind of thing. That's what makes me sad sometimes as well, where I see you guys, and I try my best to, on this channel, to give you guys this advice, this feedback. I make the mistakes and I document them, so that hopefully you will make them the mistakes again. And then you see us making these mistakes in public, like those bad visuals and whatever, and then you call us out on that. But then those same people go and also put a game up way too early with also bad visuals, and it's like,
what is this on the right?
Why?
Man?
These are things that you can really honestly avoid. Game development, it's not the gold rush anymore. It's not like you can release any single style of game, whatever it is, back in 2017.
Okay, but what can you do then?
Sales. No, things you need to make, they don't need to be exceptional, but they need to be above average. And the good thing is, right now, all of you are pulling the average down a lot. So if you just spend a little bit more time and effort on being realistic with yourself and being honest of, like, do these visuals look good? Does this gameplay feel good? All of that.
Talking to you.
A good trailer and all of that. There's still potential. I don't think game development is doomed. I think a lot of people who say that game development is doomed just haven't made quality games that fit the marketing and that fit the audience of Steam. And this is something that I always get hate for. But if you're making a 2D pixel art platformer in 2025 and you're using like Mixel's pixel art, so basically all of the pixels are like inconsistent or like squashed, or
I mean, you should look at Celeste. If you want to make a platformer 2D pixel art game, look at Celeste, Towerfall Physics, and Forgiveness Mechanics. Celeste, Google these two. And then there will be 2 articles that will be very interesting. You guys want to see those? Towerfall Physics, Celeste. This one right here is really important. And then the other one is forgiveness mechanics. Forgiveness, Celeste as well. I think everyone should read these two if you're making a 2D platformer. By Mehdi Thorsen. Towerfall physics. This article goes into how a character is moved in Celeste, and this article goes into all of the different types of forgiveness mechanics they add to the game to make the game more comfortable to play, but not easier. Because you can't perfectly jump sometimes. And then you have something like jump corner correction. Stuff like this, half gravity jump peak. Like stuff like this is really important if you want to have a good feeling game. Celeste added a lot of put into it as well. Yeah, like they spent a lot of time on this, and before they made Celeste, they made, I think it's called Towerfall, right? Towerfall, that's the first game. And that's where the physics comes from. That's what Celeste uses as well. Celeste. Really important. And that will already get you like 50% of the way there when you're following this advice. And so I'm looking for more of this type of advice from you. It's basically telling us to make a good game, but, well, how about some steps, bro? Like something to do, bro? Like, okay, let's say we shouldn't do a Steam demo. Like, how do I get feedback?
But I've seen like AI-generated pixel art being used, where the pixels aren't even, you know, rectangular, and then you complain about, oh no, Steam is saturated, game development is doomed. It's like, no, you're doomed for not realizing.
I think he focuses a little too much on the graphics, but I can understand.
And not having the self-awareness of that the stuff you're making just isn't quality enough yet. If you want to charge money for it, if you want to try and market it, and I think we need to be more strict with ourselves there. You guys hold me accountable. I just want you guys to hold yourself accountable a little bit more as well.
You can't see, like, I think he misunderstands something. The reason why he can say that is because he has an audience of people that tell him how terrible his game is. And so he doesn't have to do a demo version because he has a bunch of people watching his video telling him what he needs to change. But when you don't have that, how do you get your game to the public? And so he's advertising against the demo version, but he's not giving an alternative on how to gather feedback. For me, the reason why I managed to make my game better, and it is 3 to 4 times better at minimum than it was before, is because I released a demo version out on Steam. And then I used that feedback that I've gotten from the demo version and the time that people played and everything, I used that to make the game better. If I've never done that, if I never did that, I would have never gotten any feedback, and I would have gone down the same route without changing anything. And I made drastic changes. And so I would have never done this if I had not put out my game to the public. Like, look, Cakez TD itch. So I think he's just missing that point because he's in a situation that most other developers will not be in, because not everyone has the time and patience and actually wants to make a YouTube channel to get feedback like that. Like, look, this is what I had before. Stuff like this. It looks really cheap, and people played this for 5 minutes or something. Not very long. And now this is what I have. I don't know. I feel like it's drastically changed. So I just don't agree. Like, cause he's not giving you an alternative. I like these guys, right? But I have to be harsh and honest about, like, you're watching this video because, like, he's telling you what not to do, but he's not telling you what to do. Like, okay, improve graphics, but how do you know if the graphics work unless someone gives you feedback?
I don't want to keep hating on your games, because sometimes, you know, you have these really cool game design ideas, these really cool mechanics, but the visual approach is just so goddamn awful that it doesn't really matter. Or like the onboarding or the game design isn't great, even though the game is visually pretty. Like, cool, I like looking at this, but there's no gameplay at all. I can't make this video and every single game developer will see it and listen to me. Like, I know some of you guys are going to keep making AI slop games even though I've made this video, but I hope that some of you realize that, look, if I start to...
Hey, I think AI games could sell, man. Guys, you don't know this, but there's been so much AI in games that you don't even know of. My game not, but there is a lot of AI in games and you don't know it.
Myself to a higher
because it's well hidden,
and I actually start making games that people want, that people will be interested in, instead of just shitty pixel art or shitty 2D drawn art, because you're not an artist, you're not an S-tier artist, then you are going to have a way better leg up once you actually start doing those things, start focusing more on the art, start focusing more on all of the other things, making sure you're not releasing demos too early, doing enough playtesting before you go public and all of that.
Okay, how do you do playtesting? This is the point where he tells us how to do playtesting, right?
It's honestly, I think, less...
No, he's not. See, I like these guys, but I have to shout this out. I think you need to tell people what to do, exactly what to do, not just do playtesting. Go. Like, I think that's not how it works.
It's hard to stand out with your game than people sometimes make it seem. So that's all I really have to say. I hope this was interesting. I hope just, have you had this enlightenment where if you look back at your old games, you can now objectively be like, and looking back, this game.
So you guys are advertising for playtests.
It wasn't good visually, it wasn't good mechanically. I made too many mistakes. It's okay that it got 10 reviews. I'm now taking the lessons from that and moving forward. I think that...
I'm not saying AI can succeed. I'm saying that there is AI in games and you don't even know it. Because the people are not talking about it. I guarantee you there are AAA games that use AI and you don't know about it. They're just doing it because it's cheaper and faster. And then they color correct or correct the art to fit the style. And some random textures as well, yes. So what I'm saying is it's not that you can be successful with AI. I'm saying that it's already there, you just don't know. You just don't know it, yeah.
Would be the ideal solution here. I just don't know how realistic it is. So thank you very much for watching. Like I said, if you're new here, we make 2 videos every week talking about game development and the things that we've been learning along the way. So if that's something that you're interested in, be sure to head down below and subscribe.
No, I really like these guys. Like they have a really cool, like especially with the Unicycle game, right? That we looked here. Where is it? The Unicycle pizza game. But what I'm always looking for in advice is actionable steps. So you guys are correct. And I can totally understand. If you put out a demo version, like you're on Steam, and then people see your game on Steam and they're like, oh man, this game sucks. I hate it. They're most likely not gonna play the game again, right? I can understand that. Though then, you need to bring an alternative. Because you need to put yourself into the shoes of a solo indie game developer that has never done this before. So what you're gonna do? Ask your friends? That's a terrible thing to do. I see this all the time. Oh, my friends told me the game looks good. It just happens, man. And you're unaware of that. Even though your friends telling you that they're honest, and they will be harsh. Hello there, collector of stuff. Good morning, bro. Anyways, still an interesting video. Sorry, I'm a little bit negative towards it, simply because I'm always looking for actionable steps. And he's right, though, that your games aren't good enough, and that's the reason why they are failing. But I feel like it's missing... It is missing... What is it called? This video had less points and arguments than I thought it had, but what I took away from it was to try to make an unemotional look at your game and judge it realistically. Yeah, but I think you can only do that when you have stats. See, I agree with you completely. But how can you gather the stats? How can you figure this out? I think either playtest, I've not done this, or Tangy TD, Steam DB demo. Look at this. Okay, is someone playing? Oh, we have 1 person playing. Cool. That's the demo version. How many people are playing over the last 6 months? Okay, we have 5 daily active players, something like this. While before, like this is before the demo change, and this is after the demo change. So when you have a graph like this, even though, it's not successful at all, that's still a change. So that gives you feedback telling you that, oh, I might be onto something here. Before I didn't have anything, now I have something. I think that's worth the potential buyer that is going away because they don't like your demo. you can advertise your demo and say, well, man, listen, it's not done. I don't know how to playtest. This is my playtest. Or you do an actual playtest on Steam. I think you need feedback. In my opinion, the best thing you can do is get feedback immediately. The moment you have something playable, get feedback. And then like actual harsh feedback. Anyways, there's the video. If you would like to support these guys when you come from this video, please watch the video again on, let's say, 1% volume, something like this. Change the tab to something else, like Tangy TD. Right? Play Tangy TD, watch the game, sorry, the video on 1% volume till the end. And then they get all the views, and YouTube will promote the game. Sorry, not the game. Been making the game for too long. The video more. How do you know that that's the game causing that effect and not your stream? You're almost in the same spot that the guy is, but on a smaller scale. The reason why I know that this is the reason why I know that the demo is changed and it's better before is because I get more wish lists than before. I don't do more advertising than before. My viewers are the same as before. And the demo just got updated on Steam. While some players from the Steam play the game, yes, that's these bumps. Most of you guys have exhausted your playtime at this point. You're waiting for something new, but this is staying consistent. I'm expecting this to still go down, and I need to wait a couple more months. But for the most part, the game is better than it was before.